Hi everyone, Bandana here. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to HDR London, the first of the Nemesis 4 divisions we're going to take a look at. Obviously, Nemesis 4 has been a long time coming, but let's have a look through at all the stats. I won't read all the stats in detail, but you can of course pause when I click on something and have a good read through if you want, but we will have a gander through and get the gist. So, when it comes to logistics, nothing too unfamiliar here. We do have the new Bedford TM supply with 3,000 supply per load. And we have the Wessex HC2 supply helicopter, which is an incredibly ugly helicopter, can I just say. And we've got the Gazelle in there, AH1 command, but obviously that's already with the 2nd Infantry. We've got the standard Rover command in there, but we've also got the new Humber FFR, which I think looks pretty snazzy, to be honest. A lot of detail on that model. And then, of course, a field supply point. Okay. Infantry. Bit more variety here. So, we have 7.62mm machine guns, and then we've also got the Guards 7.62mm. Now, the difference here being the Guards obviously have the Resolute trait, which I'm very pleased about. I did request this, so I'm pleased to see that the Resolute trait is in there for them. And then we've got a standard 12.7mm in there as well. No special transports for these guys. Royal Military Police, obviously same as in a lot of divisions. And we've got the standard Rover, or the Rover with the Royal Military Police, which actually is also a military police trait vehicle. HSF, who have had their little units updated, so they look a bit different now. Got the guy at the end there with the mustache and the glasses. Obviously not too exciting weapons-wise. They are, of course, reservist, but they have security, but they also are militia, so they're going to panic a lot. But nice to see them in there, and they're just coming in the standard Bedford truck. Then we've got the L6 Wombat. No big difference there, and the Milan 1. We've got a Rifles Leader. Those two, just to clarify, no special vehicles, but obviously the Rifles Leader here can come in the Humber Pig, which is, well, standard one, or the Gremlin Pig, which has a machine gun on top. Obviously this one can be sold, this one can't. They're worth the same, but nice to see some new vehicle options. Rifles Patrol, again, either get the Humber Pig or the Kremlin Pig. Shame about the law, but they at least get some smoke grenades in there. And they do have the security trait. Then we've got the Guards, obviously only one in uniform, or the red uniform at least. The rest of them in standard getup. They are a leader squad, obviously, and they get the Resolute trait. Again, not the most exciting loadout, sadly just a standard law, but they do at least have a smoke grenade as well. Then we've got the non-leader Guards, 9-man squad, only come in the Bedford truck. But they've got the L85, the SAW, and the Law again. And then we do have the Guards Carl Gustav, which is nice, so at least we get some decent anti-tank weapons as an option there. So I'll just be taking 3 stacks of those then. Terriers Pioneers, they're available elsewhere and don't get any special vehicles here. Got the Guards Milan, so like the other Guards units get the Resolute trait, so at least they won't panic too easily. Air Mobile Terriers, a new squad, 12-man. Get the Carl Gustav again, and they only come in the Wessex helicopter. That is the only transport option. which does have some machine guns on there at least, but they're quite a chunky squad. And nice to see they got the Carl Gustav there. And then the SASG with their fun little masks. These guys with MP5s, satchel charges, smoke grenades, and the armbrust. Not the best anti-tank weapon for an SAS squad, but I guess they weren't really expected to be taking on enemy tanks. And they come in a special new Chinook helicopter with a rather unique camo pattern. Kind of fancy. But yeah, nothing too unexpected there. I think we've seen that all of that was going to be in from the news posts. Artillery tab. So we've got the Guards 81mm mortars. Yes, again, Resolute trait. Then we have, again, no special vehicles there. The QF 25 POR 87.5mm. This can be artillery or direct fire. Not the most exciting weapon, but something different. Then we've got 105mm. Again, never the most exciting weapons in the game at the moment, but again, can be either artillery or used as direct fire. And then we have the chunky 140mm artillery. Pretty big piece of kit. A reasonable amount of HE damage. That one might be a little bit more exciting. And then the, well, the AS90 155mm. A blast from the past. They're all gone in real life now. We've passed them on. But yes. Nice to see that in. Tank tab. As we would expect, there's not going to be too many exciting units here, but there is some new stuff. So we've got a standard Rover Milan there, obviously also with the 2nd Infantry. We've got the new Ferret Swingfire. Comes with 8 Swingfire missiles, which I feel is quite reasonable. Obviously with that decent penetration. Shame about the accuracy. This is obviously reservist as well. Then we've got the standard FV 438 Swingfire. Then we've got a Centurion Mark 13 Command, obviously unique to the division. Again, it is, however, reservist, so do bear that in mind. Then we've got a standard Centurion Mark 13. Not the most exciting of tanks, but they're cheap and cheerful, right? Again, it is reservist. We've got a Chieftain Mark 1/4, which has all of its guns. And this one is not reservist, so that's quite nice. Reasonable front armor, again, cheap and cheerful. And then we've got the Chieftain Mark 9, which obviously we have seen before. Nothing new there. And of course, a few Challenger Mark 2s thrown in for good measure. Recon. So, the Terrier Scouts, obviously available elsewhere. They can come in the Rover Yeoman, which is unique here and is Recon itself. Scouts, no such option, unfortunately, but they are same as usual. Got the Scout AH1. Obviously, this is unique to the division, so at least one new unit here. Guard Sniper is, well, it's a new unit. Obviously, because it's Guards, it has Resolute. A sniper team is a sniper team, I suppose, right? It does come with a new transport option, and that is the A109A rocket. It's only available to this division. Then we've got the Scorpion in there. Standard stuff. The Lynx AH7 Chancellor. is available elsewhere as well. Then we've got the standard Fox in there. And then we have the Fox ZB298, which is the Fox but with exceptional optics. So, yeah. Nice upgrade. For 10 points isn't bad. Anti-air, the blowpipe, we've seen it before. The javelin, we've seen it before. It's all about the Starstreak LML. Only comes in a Bedford truck. Decent range on helicopters. Not the best range when it comes to aircraft, obviously. 65% accuracy base. And we can up that to 70 or 75, but we get very few of them if we do that. I'd rather have more, I think. The Rapier FSB1 is in there as an option. We've seen it before. And of course the new Bloodhound Mark II, which is a chunky beast. Let's be real here. And there's a lot of detail on that model, isn't there? You wouldn't think it would fly straight going by the position of these funnels, but obviously it did, I guess. Yeah, we'll see that in action. Don't think that I'm just double checking because I promised I would double check. Comes in the Bedford TM truck, so it gets the big truck, but it's the same as the transport we saw earlier for the supplies. Nothing new in the helicopter tab. In the air tab, we've got the Hawk T1A rocket, which is new. We've got the Hawk T1A anti-air, only short range. We've got the Canberra T-17A electronic warfare. It just looks like a huge target though, doesn't it? I guess at least it's electronic warfare, so it's got 60% ECM. We've got the Canberra B2 HE and cluster bomber. Pretty chunky bombs there, not the most chunky bombs there. But I guess it's cluster, so it doesn't need to be quite as chunky. But again, it feels like a huge target, and it's got 0 ECM. So, good luck keeping that in the air. The Phantom FGR2 anti-air. Decent long-range missiles, at least. Not the most expensive one out there either, so it's pretty nice. The Harrier GR5, unique to this division, coming with quite a few chunky bombs there. And short-range anti-air missiles. 40% ECM at least. And then the Harrier GR5 cluster. Again, with the smaller bombs, but clusters don't need to be quite as chunky, I guess. And then the Tornado F3 anti-air. I mean, we've seen it before. So there's quite a few new units in here. Some of them definitely I would take more than others. I mean, I've got to take the Canberra to try it, but I feel like that's just going to get absolutely planted due to the fact it's got 0 ECM. And it's not the fastest plane, is it? Harrier's not very fast either, but at least it's got 40% ECM on there. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with this division. So watch this space. I think this will be a good one to play with. We'll see how it does in ranked, of course. But so there you go. That's the division. I think it's really good. I think it's got a good mix of new units, so I'm really pleased that it's finally in. And, you know, it's all about the Starstreak. I'm so pleased that is in because I remember having not the longest discussion, but a discussion about adding the Starstreak in for the British because it technically was fully functional at the time. We just were really slow to adopt it. But had we been at war, we would have adopted it much sooner. But it was working and functional in the 1980s, and we found evidence of that. So I'm really pleased to see that they ran with it and did add it in. Even if the accuracy is lower than I think it should be. should be like 80%. Yeah. Maybe 85. Anyhow. But yeah, really pleased to see this division finally in the game. Hang fire, and let's take a look at the new Soviet division. Okay, so what about the other side of the coin, the 2nd Guards Motostrelki Division? Something. It's near enough. Anyhow, so the entire division is obviously a guards division where the London one just has some guards. So I expect a lot more infantry with the Resolute trait. What I will note straight away is there's only one unique transport in this division, because I know sometimes I miss them, but I have deliberately gone through and double checked. So I can only see one. I don't think I've missed any others, but we'll talk about that as we go. So, logistics tab. This is immediately a new vehicle. This is the one with the telescopic antenna, which I thought was the turret, but actually if you look, it's not attached like the turret would be. So I guess it's to make it look like it's a turret when seen from a distance. I'm going to assume that's why that's like that. Standard BMP 2K in there, available elsewhere as well. The URAL, available everywhere. This is new. Chunky truck. 1,500 supply, the MAZ 535A SNAB. Standard helicopter. Then we've got the Belzor, and we've got the Cherka, which is also available elsewhere, and obviously a supply depot. So, 2 new things there. Probably the most interesting thing is the big truck, because it does look like a big chunky truck. Anyhow, infantry tab. So, loads of bits in here. So the Commandatura, and they come in their nice little Commandatura truck, which obviously has the military police trait these days. We've got everything guards. So guards 12.7mm, guards 30mm grenade launcher, the guards commander, which comes with a reasonable RPG actually, and smoke grenades. BMP team with the RPG 7VL, so it's a decent squad straight away, and obviously reservist, and you get a couple of choices of your vehicles there, but nothing new. Same again, but only a BTR 80 and a Gaz this time, but a slightly better anti-tank weapon, so bear that in mind. 20 pen. And then we've got the SVD variant. Again, BTR 80 is the only option for armed transport. And of course, we've got a meta squad as well. Once again with the BTR 80. Sapri Commander, Standard Affair, Standard Sapri, and Sapri RPO. So no Resolute trait for those guys. They are just standard Sapri squads. But they can come in the BTR 80, which is only available to a couple of divisions. The Guards, Pulmachiki, which again can come in the BMPs as well as BTR 80. And we've got the SBG9, again it's Guards 80 GMs as well, but again, nothing special in terms of the transports. I guess the BTR 80 is rare. Artillery tab, we've got 120mm mortar, it's not Guards for some reason, I'm surprised by that. Obviously comes in pretty standard transports. And we've got a D30 122mm. Standard Affair again, the 2S3M, and then the BM21 Grad. So, nothing too exciting in that. Tank tab, BRDM2 Conkers, available in plenty of places. The Rapira's in there. T72K, unique here. I don't like the T72. I know some people love it, but I cannot get over its ridiculously short range. Ooh. Got very excited and added it to the deck immediately. T64, my favorite Soviet tank. This is the AK OBR 83. It is available elsewhere, but it is still an awesome tank. Then we've got the T72 B1 OBR 84, which is unique to this division. Slightly better range, but still not the max range, but good front armor. Then we've got the T64B, which again is my preference because it's got the range and it's got a missile. It's a little bit more expensive. And then the real chunky boy, which is the T80U OBR 89, which obviously has the Inval missile, which is nasty. It's got very, very heavy front armor. As mentioned in the dev blog, you know, we're up with the UD, basically. in terms of quality, really. Not quite there, but pretty similar. Recon tab, new unit, the RPS-6 Vector, which is SIGINT. We've got the Razvedka in there, standard as usual. The Sapori, standard as usual. And the Mot Razvedka. Now, these guys don't have any new transports, but you do get plenty to choose from. Then we've got the BRDM-2, standard affair. The BRM-1K, standard affair. The Spets Razvedka, which aren't available many places, and they get the only new transport, which is the dedicated Razvedka BTR-80. That's only available here. Obviously, the optics are only good, but, you know, it is technically a Recon unit in itself. And, of course, the Mi-24K. Classic. Anti-air tab. We've got the ZU-23-2. We've got the Guards Igla, which is just an Igla, but it's Guards, so it's resolute. Biryusa in there, the Strela 10M, and the OSA. So, pretty standard affair again. Helicopter tab. Again, very standard stuff. The Mi-8T and the Mi-24. What about some new stuff then? Well, we've got the L-39ZO rocket. Probably not the most exciting, because much like the Canberra, it's got 0 ECM, so it's going to get shot down pretty quickly, and it is really slow. So, yeah, I wouldn't be sending that in unless it's a suicide mission sometimes, probably. MiG-21 BIS HE, small HE bombs, unfortunately, but very fast, not the best ECM. Obviously unique to this division, and again, unique is the MiG-21 BIS cluster, big chunky clusters there, and then some less chunky clusters, but should do some decent damage. We've got the Su-15TM anti-air 1, which is available elsewhere. We've got the MiG-23P anti-air, which is unique to this division, and at least has some reasonable ECM and a long-range missile. The Su-25AT, pretty standard. And then we've got probably the belle of the ball here, which is the MiG-29 9.13, which has its 40 ECM, high speed, and reasonably long-range missiles. Not the longest range, but, you know, it's the 8,475, so it's pretty decent. And it's got pretty decent accuracy as well. So that one's quite nice. So my overall thought about this division in particular is nice units, but mostly stuff that we've already had. You know, there's a few new ones in there, but I don't feel as it's exciting as the London division. And I don't just mean that because I'm British and, you know, I want the London division to be cool, yada, yada, yada. I genuinely think there's just probably more variety of new stuff in there. This feels a little bit more mostly reused. I mean, obviously I think the infantry squads here are probably one of the big thing, but are they really that different to a Motorstrelky squad? In the grand scheme, probably not massively. But they will have a lot more survivability with that resolute trait, I guess. So yeah, I'd say of the two divisions, definitely the London one is my favourite. Yes, first because I'm British, and then secondly because I just think it's got more variety of new stuff. I think the stuff's more fun. No offense to people who like this particular division, but I think the London stuff's just more fun, like the Bloodhound and stuff like that. You know, big chunky weird missiles and things. I like that variety. But yeah, we'll have to see how these two divisions play out in 1v1s and ranked and stuff. I'm quite curious to see how London gets away with it, because I do feel that while it's got that nice variety, I'm curious how strong it'll be in a 1v1 situation. But thank you very much for joining me. Please do, as ever, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all somewhere in WARNO.